Welcome back into the workshop, hard on the heels of the previous video, and I'm going to keep this one as short as possible. One of the things we've been concentrating on is the ability to cut narrow strips and or the full width of a sheet of melamine or ply. That's what I want to achieve at this end, this setup. So now that we're approaching that, I turn my thinking, because they kind of will play off of each other, and if I do it right for this area, it'll work in this area, hopefully. When cutting a full panel, have you ever put a panel on your sawhorses or workbench, and as you're cutting it, this end starts to flop down, and all of a sudden you have to stop, backtrack, and pop something underneath it? Excuse my my voice again. Sorry about that, guys. Or slide the panel across so that the piece that's going to be the offcut can slide across and rest on the table. And then you go back down and you finish your cut. You can hold the offcut, as it were, with one hand and finish the cut. Brilliant. Sure, people have been there. So I came up with the alternate idea of these. Sometimes we'll put outriggers in, and I thought, can't I formalize that a little bit with the MFT top? Could I make, like strips like this, maybe they're a bit of an offcut, and I can whack some holes in there and pin them in place, and the sheets can sit on there, and the offcut is being supported on 4 or 5 of these outriggers. I thought, wow, that's a really good idea. A good expansion of the use of the top. But then I'm thinking, every time you cut it in a different place and you set the track up, you're going to be cutting your outriggers, and in short order you probably have to replace them. Not a problem. You generally have offcuts. You'd make a few up beforehand, just on for that very reason. Once they get cut up a lot, bit like spoil boards like this, where it's got lots of holes in it. Once it gets to a certain point, you tend to throw it out. Why haven't I thrown that out? Anyway, then as I was making the comments, I wanted to expand the fact that the parallel arm mechanism that I'm building there, which is dead easy if you do it in a particular manner, what if I make a bigger one and use it out here or over there for cutting and, for gauging, moving the panels? And I thought, that's not a bad idea, but here I'd need to have a surface that connects the outriggers to take this longer mechanism, the parallel rails. Made the video extolling the virtues and the limitations, and I thought, hang on. The thing I don't want to have happen is I don't want to cut into the components of the MFT top, which are made up of style of top, which are made up of 2 layers, the top layer and the bottom layer. Duh. And if I cut into that, I'm going to have to replace it, which is possible. They are sacrifice able, but I don't want to sacrifice them. Oh, well, some people simply put strips of ply or insulation, like the foam insulation down, and then cut onto that, which cuts a whole lot of insulation and chip all over the place. Not ideal. There's enough muck and stuff flying around anyway. Let's not do that. Now, I took Ron Polk's idea, because he said he just has strips. I think it was Ron. Hope it's Ron. He's a good guy. I'll give the idea to him. But he's saying that he has strips of plywood that he just plonks down, puts his material on top of it, and then cuts. And I'm thinking, like that idea, and proceeded to forget about it. So I wanted to have outriggers to support my material so that I can not cut into my nice pieces of the MFT style of top. So I go to the effort of having them cantilever over the edge here. Well, that seems to make sense. Good. And as I was making the video, I was looking at it and going, hang on. Do away with that. Why don't I just have the work surface of the MFT top packed up with some of these locatable pads, and I can cut into space here, not cutting anything except the material that I wanted. I'm doing the very thing that Ron had said effectively in a slightly different manner, and I'm not using insulation foam to support the material. I'm using my MFT top and pads, which are disposable, but they don't have to be because I'm not cutting them, in conjunction with it, because they're all locatable with the pins, with the dowels. And I thought, well, no outriggers required. And if I want to make one of these larger versions of this, the parallel arms, for doing long, narrow rips, I can pop it on, no, not pop it onto the outriggers anymore, I can pop it onto my bench, which has all the flaming holes already in place for me to make use of. Duh. Now, my pins, the longest ones of these that I can find, are 40 millimeters. These are 35 because they're ideal for two thicknesses of 18 because they drop down and, they're nice and flush. You can get shaft material like this, but it's a bit more pricey and you've got to cut it, etc. So, and I think that if I was going to go to that extent, I'd want access to a lathe or a cold cut saw to be able to get nice, accurate, smooth cuts, not a grinder like I normally do. However, longer ones that can also be achieved by dowels. Conduit. And they can go in and be cut to whatever length you want. And because they are, cheap, and they do a good job when they're in more than one hole, hang on, like that, they don't go anywhere. There's no wriggle in them. They've got a nice level of friction that you can make use of, and the more you put in, the more you put in. So I can eat. Hang on, let's just do that again. Ooh. You can see the sort of fit we're talking about. So 2 layers here, 3rd layer here. I can register all 3 layers together. I'll do it an easy way. Yep, it's gone through. So that's gone through 3 layers. That one pin, you kind of get the idea. That's not flexing anywhere at all. And you can cut them to whatever length you want. They don't have to stick through. I can just feel it coming through underneath. Cheap, easy, flexible, and if you cut the damn things with your saw, not going to destroy your saw, but we won't be doing that, will we? Because I'll be told you we won't be. You've just fixed or resolved the problem. No outriggers needed. You can cut over your mitre, over your MFT style of top or MFT top. I differentiate the two because this is I shouldn't have to. It's an MFT top, multi-function top, okay? But this is not a 96mm spaced. Anyway, doesn't matter. So now I'm back to having a much, much easier life for cutting long, narrow pieces of custom wood or long, wide pieces of custom wood. It's all over top of my workbench. Something that I didn't think I was going to be able to do, but when you think about it, it's flaming obvious. But I don't have to cut into it, so I'm going to be able to keep it as pristine as I can for as long as I can. Making it along one of those, stick it in here. It could be, well, that one's about 700 long. I've done this so often, I should remember. Yeah, it's about 700 long. If I double the length of that, which is about the length of that board there, 1400, so I'd have 500 each end. Hang on. If they're narrow, they might be a bit not floppy. What happens if I stick a straight edge on to the parallel arm? Well, that's what I've done here. So that 700 is already 900 with this. This is about 900 to a metre long. Take that, bigger version, put over here, use one of these straight edges when I prove that they are straight. put them on there. Oh, that supports the narrow strips. When the strips being cut are a bit wider, well, you do away with the straight edge. The material being cut would support itself. Oh, that's not a bad idea. What about the parallel arm guides that you get that add to the track? Yep, I think they, for the price of them, between them, I looked at them the other night, they go from about $130 up to $200. I think they would be a really good idea if you wanted it that way. But I'm just looking at something else. It's called a threaded rod with some furniture connector rods there, and a wing nut and a nut. I can turn that few dollars into a not dissimilar gauge. Not as good as the gauge, but not dissimilar. So until I get sick of using this, I'll carry on using it. And then when I do, I'll buy one of the other, what do you call them? Manufactured parallel rail guide thingies, add-ons. Got a 3 metre long track rail. It needs a wee bit of fidelity, resolution. That can give it. I can use it as a gauge each end. I simply set it up once I figure out what the heck I want. Hang on, I'll just slide the steel that way. I use this, it can hook on the rail, and I can gauge from the track saw blade out to this point here to get my measurement. Once I've got that, I can either use that at either end, or I just make two of them, of which I've got some up there, because I've already used these before for this exact purpose. No, they're not as good as a parallel arm set, so spend the money and get those if you're happy. But if you want to do something on the fly, as I did, I made this up. Now if I can combine this with this and this, I've got fine tuning down to the last fraction of a millimeter. Yay! And I don't have to buy those other things. So yeah, I'm working towards that, the use of the parallel arm guide and this gauge. And this gauge can go to whatever length you want, down as small as you want, up to as big as you want. It's not that hard, it really isn't. It can also be done where you can use and I haven't done this yet, I'm not on the track saw, but you can actually push this up against the end of it, up against the blade or the tooth, and use the pin here as your gauge for where you want to go. It's just it's a setup method. I've used it in other things and it works. So there's all of those things. I'll leave it at that. There's another method using twin rods. They use that for Tremel. There's a name for doing internal measurements and external measurements. It's a couple of proprietary ones that look very nice. And I thought, oh, they look good for all sorts of reasons. And they give you a degree of accuracy down to fractions of a millimeter. Okay, I'm going to tell you about it quickly, because I've got to go and have another cuppa. If you join two pieces of rod together, 6mm, every time you move it across one rib, how far have you moved it? Now these are 6 by 1 millimeter. Have you moved it 0.5 millimeter or 1 millimeter? Actually, I can't really think, because okay, let's just pretend it's 1 millimeter. If you rotate the rod instead of moving it half a revolution, you've pulled it back 0.5 millimeter. So half a revolution can fine tune it down to 0.5 millimeter. Quarter of a rotation is 1/4 of a millimeter. Holy moly. Now, all you need to do is to have fittings on the end, a slightly bigger version of what I'm about to show you, of these. Now this is a furniture connector, the very one that actually works in concert with this actually. And it's got a flat surface there for doing that gaugey thing I was talking about. And because it's got the flat lip, it can hook onto things. So it can do both internal and external. And the one that I've seen, that it was just a bigger version of this. And the third, which it is. And the third one was one with a point on it, which permits you to get into the corners of, say, boxes or cabinets, so that you can gauge accurately what that measurement is. And then you can swap it round on the diagonal to check for squareness. Tell me that's not a good idea. I actually had a wee wood, it was a Veritas one that was just, it joins two bits of timber together that they, that you produce yourself, because you can make it in different lengths. And, in fact, is that? No, it's not it up there. Is it up there? Ooh. No, I actually moved it out of the workshop. And I used that a lot for doing cabinetry things, like years ago. Well, this version that I was just talking about, I don't know who it was made by. God, wouldn't be surprised if it was Veritas or whatever the name. Was that the correct name? It might have been them as well, but they had updated their version of it. And I'm thinking, wow, that is a nice bit of kit for doing all these check, of your cabinetry and what have you. So, anyway, cup of tea's calling. And I'll end this, and I will see you in the next video. Possibly with a wee bit more. No, I don't know. I won't say what I'll be doing. No, I'll be back on this. I want to get the pivots right. I'll do a whole series of those pivots so that they can be used here or here. The suggestion was that you have a pivot all the way along so that the light rail can't deflect. And I think every maybe 300, 400 spacing along there. Maybe. Anyway, we'll see. Make it and find out. Sounds a good idea to me. Radio, cup of tea. I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.